So welcome to the session. In this session, we'll talk about Knative and how it is aligned to running your serverless workload on Knative and how it can help you come across all the things which the difficulties which you face as part of your application deployment. So before we jump into the main topic, let me introduce myself. I'm Sunil Ganatha, senior software engineer at IBM Software Labs, and I'm part of IBM Analytics Engine team. We already provide a couple of service plans as part of our service. One is Manage Hadoop and Spark cluster, where we provide Hortonworks clusters, and it has been running in production for almost 6 to 7 years. We started this service on Docker and gradually evolved this service over the period. And for last 3 years, we have been offering the serverless Spark, where you can create the Spark runtimes on top of Kubernetes APIs. And we have achieved milestone of running around 5 to 6 millions of Spark runtimes on our this offering, and it has been already provided in IBM Public Cloud as well as the Cloud Pack for data. So my today's topic is, let's say if you are an application developer and you want to basically, as an application developer, what you want to do and ideally what you shouldn't be doing, because it is very difficult to define very thin line where what you need to basically do as an application developer and what you end up doing. And how Knative can help you there. So as an application developer, what you exactly want is you want to build your application. You want to deploy it in your one of the environment, and you want to scale up or scale down based on your demand, and roll out the upgrades as soon as you have a newer version of your application. And let's say if something goes wrong with the latest version, you want to roll back and you want to keep monitoring your service. So this is what you actually want, and you want to focus on your application rather than managing your environments and all those things, right? But most of the time, what you end up doing is you end up creating Kubernetes clusters, you end up creating, managing them, you end up maintaining them. You have to patch them regularly. You have to maintain the scalability of your application, and you end up scaling your cluster based on the requirement. And even though, let's say, if you are not using your Kubernetes cluster, in that case, still you are paying for the servers, right? And basically what you want is you want a ready solution where you don't have to do all this hassle, and you just run your application workload, you just monitor it, and let's say if you want to expose and you need a capability of like service mesh, and a solution which can give you all those things, right? So these are the some of my wish list as an application developer. But instead of writing a code, I end up doing the writing code for managing my infrastructure, which I shouldn't be doing uh, for the first place, right? So what serverless framework is? So it's basically an idea where it's a framework which industry is adopting nowadays, where uh, the principle of serverless framework is you don't have to procure the hardware. You don't basically you don't have to maintain your application. It should be able to scale automatically, or it should be able to scale down automatically. Let's say if you do not have any request, it should be billing should be per second. So whatever I'm using, it will be only charged for that instead of I paying for the even though I'm not getting any workload, even and I'm paying for my services which are uh, always running. So the serverless framework gives me all those features and implementation. Now there are multiple variants of serverless, adopting a serverless framework. One of them is like function as a service. So function as a service is nothing but an event driven where, let's say, if you want to if you have an event driven application, you can deploy it in use the function as a service architecture where it will provide you on-demand functionality. It will be able to auto scale, and you end up writing only a certain function to cater certain events instead of writing a lot of code or maintaining certain things. So Google Cloud Functions, AWS Lambdas, and IBM Cloud Functions. All these are some of the managed offering provided by industry, and but the main pain point with the function as services, uh, you you do not get a luxury of writing basically mounting certain things. Let's say if you want to have something uh, uh, let's say if you want to mount certain configurations on demand or like that, right? And you have to basically write a bare minimum code. You can't call multiple functions because that will create an issue. And there are some of the other things where you need to worry about the cold start and warm start of your function. Basically, your applications where, let's say, if your applications is been not running for uh, let's say certain time, in that case those applications go cold, and you have to make sure you have to write some solution to make your functions warm, where if there is a request coming in, then in that case they are able to serve immediately. Otherwise it will eat up eventually the start time of your function, right? Now what is Knative? So let's say if you are already using the Kubernetes in your production, then Knative gives you a building bridge where you can leverage the serverless framework as well as function as a service, all the goods of function as service and serverless framework on top of Knative, on top of Kubernetes APIs. So it actually basically builds the bridges where you already have the Kubernetes clusters available. Basically, the infrastructure is already there. And Knative gives you a capability where, let's say, if you want to run your applications or functions or batch kind of workload, then you should be able to do that. Along with that, it with the Istio, it can provide the service mesh kind of capability where you want to, let's say, a scale up, scale down, or let's say if you want to basically read out, do a blue green kind of deployment and all those things, right? Then it will give you all those kind of features. So Knative is nothing but a bridge between the serverless framework and the Kubernetes APIs. Now let's see what Knative offers. So Knative offers Knative building where you can build the images, Knative eventing where you can, if you have your application which is event driven, then you can run those application with Knative building, and the Knative serving where, let's say, if you want to run your application which are uh, basically not an event driven, but it's some bare minimal application which you want to run with, and you want to export certain points, then you can run your service with K serving. Now, if we drill down what is K building is basically an automated process where From the source code, it provides you a tool where from the source code itself, you would be able to build the images, your application images, and it will make it available in your registry. And using those images, you would be able to run your application on Knative. Uh, as of now, this particular project is deprecated, but all the goods and all the concepts of a Knative build is being taken by the Tekton, and as of now, community is favoring the Tekton pipeline to do all such kind of activities. Now, Knative eventing is basically where you want to deploy your event-driven application, and you want to list and your service only wants to listen to a certain events and react based on certain events. In that case, you can leverage the Knative eventing APIs. Where let's say you have multiple sources, basically producers of your events, and there is a broker which sits in between, and they that fan outs all the requests the based on the trigger to which your subscriber has subscribed to. Certain events will go to a subscriber one, and certain events will go to subscriber two based on the triggers. And those subscriber can be your Knative service. It's a K serving service itself. So those are the sync point for your events, and based on they have a process on those events, they can acknowledge, and they can send back the request to your triggers. So this is where if you have the uh, event-driven application, you can leverage the Knative eventing. Whereas in Knative services where you want to rapidly deploy your serverless containers, and you want to expose them, and based on the configuration you want to scale up and down, or based on the configuration you want to basically serve the concurrent request. In that case, you leverage the Knative serving APIs. If I drill down to Knative serving, how basically it works is where let's say I have deployed my application as an Knative service, and as of now, let's say I have only few users who are using this service, and let's say there is a sudden surge in the demand. In that case, it will, based on the traffic it is getting, it will automatically detect that how many concurrent requests it is serving, and based on the configuration, it will scale up and down your basically application deployment. And let's say if you have a lot of requests coming in that case it will scale up. And let's say if you do not have any request coming in that, it can go down to zero. It also where you won't be billed even though your service is deployed, but it is only coming up when there is a request. So it can save a lot of dollars for you. Now, the other problem, if you want to roll out the uh, frequent code of your application, in that case, uh, the Knative serving comes in help when you want to do a blue-green deployment, where let's say if I'm rolling out a new code and I have deployed it, but I want to test it in the production system itself. And if everything is working fine, in that case only I should reroute all the incoming requests to my latest deployment. So it gives you a capability where you can create the snapshot of your deployments based on the configuration, and based on the revisions. And let's say you are deploying a uh, new code. In that case, you can choose to redirect only 20% of the request to a newer revision, where uh, you can verify whether things are working fine or not. And based on that, you can actually redirect all the uh, other 80% of the request to your latest deployment. And let's say if something goes wrong and if you want to roll back to an older version where things were working fine, then you have an option to do that also. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say if I want to run an Nginx as an Knative service, in that case, these are the constructs which are available by Knative service, where you can define what should be the minimum scale, what should be the maximum scale of your service, and how many concurrent requests each of your container can serve based on the memory, based on the resources in terms of CPU and memory you have set. And if you look at uh, on the left bottom corner, where you can define the same thing which explained earlier, like how much traffic you want to basically redirect to this particular configuration, right? So you can define this. It is as simple as that. You just create one YAML with your application, define these parameters and deploying, and it will do all the magic on its own. Now, the question arises, okay, do I have to do everything on my own, or is there anything already readily available which I can use and leverage in my product to run my production workflow? So there are a couple of services which are already available in industry, which are managed Knative service. Let's say if you are already having GKE, then GKE provides you a plugin which is Cloud Runs. So once you enable that particular add-on, the Knative and Istio capabilities will be enabled on your GKE, and you can start leveraging that along with running your other workload, which is using the Kubernetes API. One more service, which is IBM Cloud Core Engine, that also gives you such capabilities where you just go to an IBM Cloud and create a core engine project. So project is nothing but an isolation where for each project you can run under each project you can run your code. So those two services are already readily available, which you can leverage if you want to explore and start running your Knative service. Now, the question comes, why I should run my workload on Knative, right? If I already have the function as a service, right? So the thing is, with Knative, you get the auto scaling features, you get the goods of service mesh. Along with that, you let's say if you have a certain workload which you want to run on Kubernetes APIs, then you have the luxury of doing that, as well as running your workload on Knative will save a lot of cost. And as well as, let's say, if you have not counted for the certain surges of the request, in that case, it can cater to a lot of large number of requests, as well as, let's say, if there are bursts in requests, it can handle all those things also. And Knative can run on top of Kubernetes as well as OpenShift, which are widely used in industry. Now, some of the learnings which I had in adopting Knative, I wanted to share with you guys, where I had to find out the right fit for my application workload. So let's say if you also start adopting the Knative, then these are the some of the things which you need to consider and keep in mind. If you are exposing certain service as an Knative application, in that case, you need to be mindful of how much time your service takes to start, and whether you are running the very heavy container. Let's say if your application image is like very large in GBs, in that case you need to be a bit careful on that, because it can take bit time to come up. In that case, you won't be able to leverage some of the capabilities of Knative, where if you want to go to scale down to zero, in that case, you might face certain issues. What all things comes out of the box is, let's say if you want to do a blue-green deployment, load balancing is already available. Request on demand is already available. So all those things are available, and you need to basically strike the right balance uh, in terms of for which applications you can leverage the Knative, and for which applications you still need to rely on Kubernetes APIs. And let's say if you are adopting the Knative on managed offerings, in that case, apart from all these things, you also get the isolation based on the project. You already have a readily available APIs to create the config map and applications and all. You have certain workload, which is a batch kind of workload, then you get automatically all those things. So all those things is provided on Core Engine. I have explored that more in depth compared to GK. So all these things are available on Core Engine. Apart from that, let's say if you want to build your application image directly from your Git source code, that is also provided on Core Engine. These are the some of the best practices, and these are the some of the points the one should consider before adopting the Knative, which I wanted to share with you guys. So for this particular talk, these are the references which I had used. You can reach out to me on Twitter or Medium, and read my blogs on Medium. If you have any questions, I'm open for the questions.